Hey YouTube, welcome back to Cassandra's Kitchen, where I eat to live and I live to eat. Today I'm going to be making some chicken and waffles. Not chicken, oyster mushrooms and waffles, but they're chicken and waffles. I have to correct myself because I'm gonna have my critics out there that said it's not chicken. Okay, it's not chicken, but it tastes like chicken. It's gonna look like chicken. Just wait and see. So if you're interested in learning how I create this beautiful waffle with some chicken using oyster mushrooms, stay tuned and I'll show you. Guys, so I got a little bit going on here on the countertop. It probably looks a little bit busy, but that's okay. We're gonna get through this. So what we're going to need today to start off is our oyster mushrooms. These are what we're using to make our chicken or mock chicken on today. I got my oyster mushrooms from Sprouts. You can get these from Whole Foods. You can get them from the Asian markets. They carry them, they don't really carry them in your local grocery stores like your Kroger and things like that, or Walmart, but you can get them in Sprouts or, Whole Foods, things like that. The oyster mushrooms, when you get them, this is what they look like. They come together a lot of times, these are whole. They come together in little clusters, okay? And so what I usually do, I just pull them apart as such, or however big I want them. I'll pull them apart just like such, and I will clean them off, and I will then I'm soaked mine. I have some here prepared. Kind of pour them apart like tenders. That's what mine are going to be, more like tenders. I have them soaking in some hot sauce and some cayenne pepper because I'm making spicy chicken today. So just clean them and have them soak in here. And if you don't want to make them spicy, you can soak them in like your almond milk and whatever seasonings you want to put in there. That's just, I didn't need to add more liquid since I'm using the hot sauce. And I just put some Frank's hot sauce in there and a little cayenne pepper just to let that absorb in the mushroom. And then we're going to batter them up and fry them. I will be frying them in my deep fryer using grapeseed oil. So what I'm going to do is just make a batter to batter them in. So I will be using spelt flour. I'm using all white spelt flour. And I'll be just making a simple batter for the chicken or the oyster mushrooms. And so we're going to do that. I'm not going to put a lot of different seasonings in my batter because I'm just going to be using the garlic. I love garlic. So the granulated garlic. Quite a bit of that in there. I'm going to be using some smoked paprika because I do want that smoky taste into the chicken or the oyster mushrooms. And yeah, I used to love frying up some chicken, boy. And I used to fry up some chicken really nice. But since I don't eat chicken anymore, I get happy when I do my oyster mushrooms. And then we're going to use some spike. Spike is an array of different herbs and seasonings in here. So you don't have to add a lot of different seasonings unless you want to. But I'm going to use quite a bit of my spike to season my flour here. Okay. And let me just give this a twirl. Because the chicken's already got a little cayenne pepper and the hot sauce, so that's going to give it already flavor there. Like I said, if you want to soak it in some milk to give it that buttermilk taste and add your other seasonings, definitely feel free to do so. Okay, so I have this here, and so my fryer is getting prepared. So all I'm going to do is batter these and throw them in here. So what we're going to do now, we'll move this out of the way. And we're going to start working on our pancake batter. So for the pancake batter, it's just a simple batter that I created. I came up with that worked. Let me pull up my little notepad here. So all we need is 1.5 cups of flour. We need 3.5, well, 3 is fine, but 3 tablespoons of baking powder. This is what's going to get it to fluff for us. 1, 2, 3. We're going to need 1 teaspoon. I said tablespoons of baking powder, but I meant teaspoons. I'm sorry. And that's what I put in there, teaspoons. 1 teaspoon of salt. You're going to need 1 tablespoon of sugar. And so I'm going to be using the monk sugar, and I'm out of the like granulated looking sugar, or the crystal-like sugar. So I'm using the monk sugar powder, which any sugar will work fine. So I'm going to put my tablespoon of my monk sugar in there. You need 3 tablespoons of butter. So I've already have my butter heated there and liquefied. You need 1 egg. So of course we're not using eggs, so we're going to be using the black egg. And I've already had this in the refrigerator. It's 1 tablespoon of flax meal to 3 tablespoons of water. And that's our egg substitute. And then we're going to need our milk. Let me get my whisk. I thought I had everything over here. It never fails. I always forget something. But anywho, I'm doing good, right? So we need 1 1/4 cups of milk. And you can loosen this if you need to, just depending on the batter. Sometimes I may add just a little more, depending on how thick my batter turns. But 1 1/4 usually does the trick. And this is almond milk, unsweetened, original almond milk. We're just going to give this a twirl here. And this can be used for pancakes, waffles, whatever you're making. Today we're doing waffles. Usually I make pancakes, and so I came up with this recipe. It worked. It took me a while to find one that made the pancakes kind of nice and fluffy. And so this one does the trick. We just want to mix all this together here. And what I'm going to do for my griddle, I'm going to spray my waffle iron. Depending on your waffle iron, you may not have to do this, but I'm just going to spray just a tad bit of oil on there. Just a spray. Not much. Okay. Alrighty. So we're going to let this sit for a second. Let me move this out of my way. Alrighty, put my lid back on my milk. So our fry is ready for our mushrooms. We're going to get those down in here. Let me grab my basket. Okay. Make it a little easier to come out of there. Got our basket there. So what I'm going to do first is get some of these mushrooms down in the oil. We have our flour, and a good thing to do, what I always would recommend, is testing your flour before you start to cook. Make sure it has a taste that you want. Okay? And then just go ahead and get your mushrooms here battered. Now, the reason I say to soak these because it holds the flour on really, really well. Because if you take them out dry like this, they're not going to batter well. So you want to either soak them in some milk, or you can do like I'm doing here, make them the nice spicy using the cayenne pepper along with the hot sauce. And so I've done these as lemon pepper before. Just whatever type of meal I'm making, that's, I kind of go for that flavor. So these are real easy to cook. They don't take long to fry up, so definitely don't drop them and leave them because it is a vegetable, guys. We don't want to overcook them and dry them out. I like some, moistness in the middle of them. So, but they don't cook like the portobello. So I told you guys this last time when I made the chicken sandwich or the oyster mushroom sandwich. They don't fry up like portobellos. And the texture on the inside is really meaty too. Although I love portobellos, but I use them for more like my when I'm doing like a steak fajita or something like that, I use the portobellos, the big portobellos. And those work great for that. But for the chicken substitute, I love using the oyster mushrooms. So like I said, this is a simple, easy dish to create, and it's delicious. So let me get a couple more of these out of here. Use this hand now. I think we had this conversation before, wet hand, dry hand. So y'all already know the story about that. So, and I should have maybe just grabbed some gloves. It would have been a little bit easier. But, you know, I'm old school. I get dirty. Get down dirty in the kitchen. Okay. So we're going to start getting these in our basket now. Hear that nice sizzle going on. You definitely want to make sure your oil is hot. And again, I think I did mention I'm using grapeseed oil to cook these in. So hopefully everyone is having a beautiful day today. It's Sunday, so this is our Sunday brunch that I'm making. So I figured this would be something nice, quick and easy feeling. Because when I eat like this for brunch, this pretty much holds me over the entire day. So if I was to get hungry later on, I would have small salad or maybe a bowl of Kamut cereal or something like that. Just something really light. So let's see. I think I can get a couple more down in here. I don't want to have my grease burn. Okay. So those are down in there. They're frying up nice. Rinse my hands over here. Alrighty. So we have that going there. And then the next thing we're going to do is just do some of our waffles here. Move this over now. Alright, so as you see, my batter is a little thicker than what I want. Because I'm pouring it in my, now if I was making the pancakes, I would probably keep it this way only because it makes them real fluffy. But because I'm putting them in my iron, I want it to kind of spread out. So I'm going to add just a little bit more liquid in here. And you know, you could be the judge of how much you want to put in there. I just added a little bit more, maybe another third of a cup here of liquid. Okay. And I'm going to use my ladle to get that down in my iron good. Oh yeah. Okay, this is going to be perfect. Yes, I would say keep it as is for pancakes, but for waffles, maybe add just a little bit more liquid in there. Okay, so now we're going to get this poured in our iron. And I'm going to do some blueberries on the top, and I may do some blueberries inside of these. So get that down, and then you flip it over. I just usually give it a moment to set and then flip because it always makes a mess. Okay. So like I said, it doesn't take long for the oyster mushrooms to cook up. And they're already browning up really nicely here. And they smell so good with that hot sauce and cayenne pepper. So let me get a little plate out so I can catch them. Something to drain the oil, just soak up some of that oil. And what I'm going to be using is some blueberries. I have some blueberries, some Simply Truth frozen blueberries, organic blueberries. I like buying my berries organic because, you know, berries are on the ground, and a lot of times, you know, if you don't get them organic, there's a lot of pesticides just to keep the bugs from eating them up. Eating them up is common sense. So I try to get organic so we can avoid all those pesticides that's in there. And I'm going to also be using some organic maple syrup for our waffles. So these two will be topped on top of that. So, y'all, this is it. It's simple, it's easy, and it's delicious. It's so good. Just gonna flip these a little bit in here, even though they're deep frying. They don't want to make sure they cook evenly, so they kind of float to the top so they're not heavy. So you want to just make sure you turn them really so they can cook evenly in your oil. So we got those going, we got this going, and guys, this is it. This is simple, easy, delicious, and we'll just wait for these to come out. And once they come out, I'll show you what they look like, give you a taste test, and we'll go from there. All right, guys. So our oyster mushrooms are ready, nice and crispy. Got a nice and crispy texture, so I'm just going to take these out and put these on my plate. Now, I will say the batter that I made for the waffles, before I added the liquid, I think don't add any other liquid because I think it loosened it up a little bit too much. Adding that extra little third cup of milk, because some of mine seeped out a little bit on one side, but the other waffle, they turned out really nice. But I would say just keep it at that texture, or don't loosen it up too much if you feel you need to. So I did end up adding just a little bit more back in there, just to keep it kind of a little tighter, and then just let it actually sit for a second before you turn it. Because one side of my waffle was really nice and packed, the other one where some of the batter has seeped out. And I think because I had it a little bit too loose. So I would say just keep it as the batter was. Make sure your iron is completely full. And then when you set it down, let it sit for a second and then turn it over. But again, this one turned out really nice and thick. It's just this one side, I lost some of my waffle mix, so don't do that. But yeah, but the actual oyster mushrooms, they came out perfect the first time. So we're gonna go ahead and batter the rest of these, get these in here, and I'll get this all plated up and let you see what it tastes like. All right, guys, so here we have it. We have our waffles and our oyster mushrooms, aka chicknon. So they turned out really nice. I have a little bit more cooking here, but I wanted to go ahead and do our taste test. What I did, I added some fresh blueberries, and I've added some maple syrup. So this looks so delicious to me right now, and I want to bite down into it. But of course, I know what it tastes like, so I'm gonna let my assistant, Mr. Gary Coleman.
Yes.
Can I have your assistance, please?
Yes, ma'am, you may.
All right, come on over here and taste these blueberry waffles and these oyster mushrooms, and let our audience know what they taste like, please. Is that enough syrup on there? I didn't put a lot.
It's good.
Okay.
Let's see.
And let me know how I'll take one of those off the plate. Just let me know how the waffle mix tastes.
Yes, y'all. The waffles are fluffy.
Good.
The berries are just amazing, good and sweet. I mean, the maple syrup on these waffles, y'all. Good God Almighty, I'm telling you, it's good.
And I sprinkled a little,
it's
just
really
for presentation, good. I sprinkled a little bit of the monk powdered sugar on top.
It's really good.
With the oyster mushrooms.
Let me taste these here.
You probably don't have to put no hot sauce on them because it has hot sauce in them. Listen to that crunch.
Yeah, y'all. These oyster mushroom, just like chicken. I'm serious, the texture and everything. When you bite into them, I'm telling you, and the hot sauce, you can taste all of these flavors, y'all, and it's just bursting with flavors. I mean, it's really good. These are amazing, y'all.
They're delicious, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys, there you have it. So try it. And if you like it, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. And of course, share this video.
Yes. You won't be disappointed, promise.
Good. You heard it from him. You won't be disappointed.
No.
And of course, subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, subscribe. And again, from Cassandra's Kitchen to yours. Until next time, we love you.
Love y'all.
Be blessed.
Peace.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.